A massive thank you to Seth, Roberto, Robert, or Rob, Ollis, Nicholas, and Chowder for following the channel. If you want to be featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone, and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 21 of Season 5 of our F1 22 My Team career mode. Yes, this weekend, we're back here for the Brazilian GP. 2 races and a sprint race to go before Season 5 of this campaign runs out. And big news before we get into it. Head over to the community tab. Yesterday evening I posted up the first team vote poll ready for Season 6. You guys are going to have your say. Which engine supplier are we going to be using for the final season? Will we stick with Mercedes? Will we go back to Ferrari or Renault power? Or will we try out Honda power for the first time in this campaign? Let me know. We'll be sticking with whoever you guys say. And then tonight we are going to be having our Season 6 teammate poll as well there. But, of course, yeah, in terms of the championship, there's no easy way to put it. Unless Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris both retire this weekend, we're out of the championship. We need to outscore them in the sprint race. It might be that it's all done come sprint race Saturday. 54 points back. We're locked into P3. We can't lose the place behind us. The Constructors' Championship is wrapped up as well. So really now we're just acting as Charles Leclerc's rear gunner there, of course, you know, if we're out of the championship hopes. But of course, yeah, Brazil, sprint race weekend, the final sprint race of Season 5 of this career mode. Really looking forward to it. Get yourself subscribed. Formula 1's finally back this weekend as well. And let's do this thing. First lap then here in Q3 is going to be done on the scrub set of tyres we used for that fastest run in Q2. Gives us one final set that we can go all out with. Ready for our final last ditch qualifying run. Don't know what top times have been done, but we'll wait and see. Our first lap hasn't been a world beater, but hopefully it's going to give us a pretty competitive benchmark then out of the final corner. Towards start-finish line. Like I said, it is an old set of tyres. 1065 is not bad going, but shows the competitiveness here in Q3. That's still only good enough for 10th. Well, every car then, final run here from Interlagos in Q3. Let's see what we can do.
You've dropped to P10, you're 5th row of the grid now. Come on, let's go again.
We've always been P10 marks, so I don't know why you're telling me that, but team reckon there's about another half a second delta with the tyres alone. Let's see how true that is. Felt like a pretty good lap. It's not going to beat Charles Leclerc, but it could put us right towards the front of the field. Ready for the sprint race, shortest run, up towards start-finish line. Then it's going to be, what, a 1061? There we go, it's P4 on the grid there. Really did save my best or last. We'll take it. There we go then, Charles Leclerc, championship leader on pole, ready for the Sao Paulo sprint. Lando Norris in P2 ahead of Ocon, and then myself there. All 10 cars covered by 3.5 tenths. Come the end of qualifying, but remember, we need to win the sprint and Charles come P3 or worse for us to still be within a shot of the World Championship. Let's do this thing.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Ocon, Mr. Monaco, Sergio Perez and Bottas, Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, Joe and Pierre Gasly, Drugovich, Oscar Piastri, Lance Stroll and Tsunoda, Albon, Latifi, Jehan Deruvala and Yuri Vips, Schwartzman, Ticktum, Teo Pourchaire and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Right, here we are then. Round 21, the Brazilian Grand Prix sprint race there. As always, I'm going to gamble it. We always go soft. It gives us a bit of a better fighting chance early on in the race. And the tyres, especially with just how well upgraded this car is, don't really fall off later on in the race. But we need to beat Charles. To be honest, it's a bit weird for us, because I kind of need Lando to beat Charles as well, but I also don't want Lando to beat Charles, because then it kind of screws us as well. But either way, they're all starting on the mediums against myself on the softs. Let's see what we can do.
Okay, how was that pull-up?
Well, I really am trying to channel my inner Kimi Raikkonen here, of course. If Lando and Charles both don't really score anything this weekend, then we could still be within the championship fight going into Abu Dhabi. Miracles do happen sometimes in Formula 1. But with the way this season's gone, I'm not expecting any to go my way there. Pretty much perfect on the lineup. And now we just wait for the cars at the rear of the field. Magnussen all lined up at the back. Let's do this thing then. Brazilian Grand Prix sprint. 5 red lights. As lights out and away we go. Oh, Charles Leclerc has not got the start there. You can see Lando Norris straight past him in towards turn 1. Bottas was never properly in front of me there, so how he's not spotted me, I'll never quite know. And Ocon straight into P2 as well, so Charles Leclerc has had the nightmare start. Lando Norris couldn't have asked for much better than he's been given, but you can suddenly see then as we head down the Esquido Largo for the first time, both of our cars losing a couple of places there. We need to go on the offensive on Sergio Perez almost immediately as Lando Norris streaking into the distance as we head up the hill there. Team not too worried about the start. We might be able to do the old up and under on Sergio Perez there, and that's exactly what we needed to do at the start of this sprint race. Of course, only 12 laps to get on with it here, so it is going to be, you know, as always, thick and fast racing. Got to make the moves happen as early as possible there. But yeah, Lando Norris couldn't have asked for much better. Of course, if it were to end like this, the gap going into the Brazilian GP race would be 6 points, but I would be out of it. Doesn't really matter where Lando finishes in this race relative to myself, as long as we outscore Charles by 2 points. But yeah, as we come towards the end of lap 1 though, we have survived the start. We have broken back free from those Red Bulls as well, more importantly. But we've got to use these tyres. We see through the middle sector, Charles Leclerc really is struggling early on this afternoon there. Try to have a look around the outside. We might have a look to the inside as well. Charles thinks about trying to turn in there, but luckily no contact made. I was worried that was going to be Hamilton-Albon flashbacks. Yellow flags out. One of the Haas cars going slowly. Seems to be quite a common occurrence late on in this championship. Is it Drugovich once again? Yes, it is. Home race, of course, for Felipe, and he's out of the sprint and going to be starting the real thing from the back. Oh, around the outside of Charlie boy again. We're going to try and find the momentum, but oh, Charles Leclerc just tries to cover me off. Down the inside we'll go, though, at the next hairpin, and finally we've completed the move on our teammate. Then it's allowed Esteban Ocon just to get a little bit of breathing room, but I don't think he's got the DRS off Lando Norris. Of course, I said about if we won and he came third. It could also be if I came second and he came fourth here. We would still drag this fight on. Come on then, let's see what sort of straight line speed Esteban Ocon has got without the help of DRS. Surely this one is going to be a done deal, but we know how wild the AI can be back at turn 1 here around the outside. New fast lap of the day as well. Ocon going to try and stay in front there. He tries to switch me off the corner, but we somehow sneak all the way around the outside there through turn 2. The AI do that weird thing where if they miss their braking point, they try and park on the apex of a corner, but could not get it there fast enough. Ocon thinks about it, but we slam the door shut on that one as well, and we are now up into a position where we could still be in this championship fight come race day Sunday. But I would love to try and get Lando Norris. Tyres should be fine to the end mark, but 4 laps to go. We're closing in about 3/10 a lap to Lando Norris, but we are really still pushing to the absolute limit there. We've broken out the DRS range of Esteban Ocon behind. 3 laps to go. The gap down to 1.3. I just need to get in the DRS, and then we should gain a lot more. Oh, I can't help but feel the tyres are starting to fall off. The gap has come down again, but not by much.
5 seconds.
Still pulling away from Ocon behind, but we just need to get in the DRS range. Gotta happen. Gap 1.1 as we head on to the final lap here in Sao Paulo. Lando Norris has done enough in today's sprint race. I guess the only other real question is, will Leclerc get around Esteban Ocon? I know I haven't sensibly got a chance at this World Championship, but I just wanted to believe for as long as possible that we could stay in this fight there, and it might just be... In fact, no, I don't even think we'll do that, will we? Because the gap will be down to 52, but Leclerc has taken so many wins this year, there's no way I've won almost as many races as him. Of course, even if I won, obviously I have to win the GP and the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix next weekend, and I don't think even then I'd have enough wins to match Charles Leclerc in the championship, so this might be, I'm pretty certain, the last lap I'm going to be in a title fight this season here as we round through the final few corners. Lando Norris, it's been a valiant effort in the Saturday sprint race there, took the lead off the start. Charles Leclerc has had an absolute nightmare, and he's jumped Ocon. He's even jumped Ocon, so round in the final corner, I hate to say it, but we are out of the championship fight here on Sprint Race Saturday. The gap at the top of the table comes down once more, but it's all over for us. We have got to be Charles Leclerc's wingman until the end of the year.
Let's have a quick look at how the driver's standings have changed. Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. With that result, the sport's newest team can no longer be touched at the top of the table. What an incredible journey this has been for a team many had written off a short time ago. They are the Formula One World Champions. Well, that wraps up the sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Brazilian GP sprint, and it is Lando Norris who takes the victory here today. 1.7 seconds clear ahead of myself, 3 seconds the gap between myself and Charlie Boy there, and no other major movers, I think, further up and down the roster. Vips, another good race by him, gaining 4 places when all is said and done there. But that does mean championship-wise, 52 points available, 53. The gap between myself and Charles Leclerc there. 2 points between Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. So Charles could theoretically still wrap this up here in Brazil, but it is going to require a bit of a miracle there. 1 point between Ocon and Checo. There's still, so many battles going on further down the roster, but I guess all we can really do is enjoy ourselves then in the Brazilian Grand Prix. Try to help out Charlie Boy as best as possible. Let's do this thing.
Formula One returns to Interlagos once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his 3rd championship here in 2012, and just 4 years later, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here at Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7-mile circuit. 2 very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Junsao into one of the 2 DRS zones will be key to any overtaking prospects today. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Mr. Monaco completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Ocon, Sergio Perez, and Bottas. Mick Schumacher, Ricciardo, Gasly, and Guan Yu Zhou. Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Lance Stroll, and Yuri Vips. Latifi, Albon, Robert Schwartzman, and Daniel Ticktum. Daruvala, Magnussen, Teo Pourchaire, and Felipe Drugovich. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, How do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Right, here we are then. Brazilian GP time. Championship is all over. And I was not expecting that. Again, another race where we could see changeable conditions. Now, the medium tyres can go quite far into this race, so unless the rain comes right towards the end, we should still be able to stretch those tyres to that wet period there. But Lando Norris on the pole, Charles Leclerc right behind us. I might have to be the wingman today, but it looks like different strategies are going to come into this, and we'll see how that affects things.
Okay, expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
Okay, so soft compound tyres might be able to get to that wet period then. 10 to 15 minutes is not in the second half of this race. The tyres, I mean, often you find that the left-hand side of the circuit is the better side to start here in Interlagos, but, I mean, no side of the circuit is the better side to start if you're me. Let's see what we can do then. Ready here in Sao Paulo. Changeable conditions is going to create drama. 5 red lights then on the grid here in Interlagos. Let's do this thing. Lights out and away we go there. No hold whatsoever. Much better launch for myself this time. Can still see a few of those soft compound runners that are going to try and get the run into turn 1, but we'll lose the place to Charlie Boy. Not too worried about that one off the start. As long as we can try and hang close for those soft compound runners early on this afternoon, that's going to be the most important thing there. Checo Perez has moved past Esteban Ocon as well, just a bit further behind. Again, the AI, they just want to try and launch it into the corner, but they're so far back they can't sensibly do anything there, and you can already see only 2 championship contenders now already trying to run away at the front of the field. 2 points between them as we head into the penultimate race of the year. It has been a massive back and forth between Lando Norris, of course, replacing Charles Leclerc over at Ferrari. What a year it's been. It could still come down to the wire. Lando Norris only needs to finish 8th or higher for it to go into Abu Dhabi. We are in for a barnstormer here in Sao Paulo. Now, I think it's safe to say early on then, Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris both on an absolute mission here. 2 seconds clear come the end of lap 2. I need to try and break free from Sergio Perez behind, but yeah, another half a second gained on myself.
Use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
DRS enabled, but I'm certainly not going to get any.
5 minutes until rainfall expected. 5
Whoa.
minutes till rain.
Okay, so the rain, even sooner than we'd originally anticipated, starting on the mediums, was not the way to go. We might just have got Sergio Perez at the DRS range then as we come towards the end of lap 5. The clouds aren't rolling in too quickly. I mean, they're not even looking too ominous early on in this race. Gap to Lando and Charles is pretty much stagnated then around the 2.5 second mark. So, yeah, we are just waiting for that rain. Opening stages of this Grand Prix are basically a decent metaphor for how our season's gone. Pulling away from everyone behind. But yeah, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, just edging out the gap in front. All that could sum it up now will be an engine failure.
Okay, gap to the car ahead is 2.1 seconds.
Really did think that Mark was going to come over saying that was an engine failure, but not this time. I'm intrigued to see how far the AI are going to be... Oh, there we go. There's the flash, sorry. Yeah, I was wondering how far the AI would need to go, but I don't think that's going to matter anymore. I think this rain is going to roll in rather quickly, so we've got to be prepared to make the switch. Unlike previous F1 games, F1 22 is always a bit hesitant to try and deactivate the DRS, but it's often when you've got a few of those little blobs of water you can see on the screen that are a good indicator as already Lando Norris struggling a bit more quite clearly at the front of the field. Maybe the soft compound tyres starting to reach the end of their usable life anyway. We are gaining rather rapidly this lap. First time today then, I'm even going to have some DRS, which is nice. Might try and bring me a little bit closer, but yeah, I reckon it's 3 laps at most before making the switch. And this, of course, is also the point of the Grand Prix, where we're going to start seeing the extra downforce that I'm running coming in handy as well. They're already gaining a fair old chunk of time through the middle sector. Charles Leclerc was pitting. Charles Leclerc believes now is the time to box onto a set of the intermediate compound tyres. Either that or his softs had hit the cliff. Are we about to see a big strategy gamble coming in from Charlie Boy? Can't obviously find out what tyres he's gone onto just yet. We'll try and get confirmation in a moment, but loads of cars into the pit lane. Surely they're not going intos yet. Track still doesn't feel wet enough. It's definitely getting there. Surely not. Can we get teammate status?
Gap to your teammate behind is 4.1 seconds.
That's not
They're
right.
on fresh mediums.
Oh, there we go. So he's pitted onto mediums then. So Charles Leclerc, that was a big old gamble here in Interlagos. I don't know why he didn't just go on a second set of softs, to be completely honest. But depending on what Lando Norris does now, could this race be getting turned on its head? I think we're only another couple of laps away, but Lando Norris peeling into the pit lane then. So is this suddenly working out nicely for Esteban Ocon and myself? They're the AI. Clearly can't get those tyres as far as they needed. DRS disabled, so could we see Lando immediately bolt on his set of the inters? And I don't know if he'll stay on the relative. I don't think he will. Will we just get a look at it? No, we won't. So Lando Norris then. Don't quite know what he's doing, but we are going to box intermediates at the end of this lap. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. Rain's going to keep getting heavier, so you know what? Whoa! Mark told me he was not ready for the intermediates, but that line out of the final corner, I reckon it's time that we switch. I'd rather be one lap early rather than one lap late. Onto those intermediates. Didn't adjust my braking point, did I? Ready for the pit lane there, of course, in the slippery conditions. 5-second penalty. How could that shake things up this afternoon? But it looks like we are going to be the first car then into the pit lane. We did that at Portimao last weekend and it wasn't a bad shout. Could it come in clutch once again here? We are going to be very, very close with Lando and Charlie Boy off of pit exit. So let's now just try and see what we can do on these intermediates then. What's the grip going to be like as we head out of the pit lane then? In fact, it looks like we've got the jump on Lando Norris. How on earth have we overcut him by a couple of seconds there? Clearly struggling to get temperature into the tyres. You know what? Oh, these intermediates feel good immediately. This is suddenly our race. Well, I can't work out what's going on, I suddenly say that, and Lando Norris is still closing in on me, but we are closing in at a rapid rate of knots on Alex Albon, so I think we've definitely still made the right call. Of course, the AI will lose so much time. Whoa! Having a pit!
Okay, some information on Norris.
I've just taken both of the championship runners out!
They're retiring. Okay, the officials have deployed the safety car due to multiple cars.
Oh my goodness me!
Mind your delta.
Well, that certainly changed the way this race is looking. Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc out of the Grand Prix. Not enough time to react to the incident that I've just created there. It's going to allow all the other AI to pit, except for Valtteri Bottas for some reason. I'm up to 10 seconds worth of penalties. That was not in the plan. But as you can see, I'm riding on board with Lando Norris in this Grand Prix. You can see myself trying to apply pressure to Albon in front, just drop the rear end. We loop it round and Lando Norris, yep, nowhere to go. Charles Leclerc flies in as well there. Perez, we're lucky not to take him out as well as we get out of the way. But how on earth we've got away with no damage there, I will never know. Here we go then, let's watch it from Charles Leclerc's point of view as well. Once more, just behind Lando Norris in this Grand Prix. We tip the back end round, Lando tries to avoid it, and Charles Leclerc, I felt like he could have done a bit more in that scenario, but both of the championship top runners out of the Brazilian Grand Prix, this race has absolutely been turned on its head. And in things I didn't expect to see today, Alex Albon is now leading the Brazilian Grand Prix. They're ahead of Ocon. Bottas as well is going to have to pit. So Zhou Guanyu should be into the net lead of this race. Those cars pitting in. No, Ocon, of course, has made the strategy work as well. So McLaren now have got a 1-2 here in Interlagos. Plenty of other cars behind us having to pit as well. But effectively, we've reset the field and taken the two cars that were probably going to fight for the win out of this race. Daniel Ricciardo out as well. Ferrari are suddenly in a nightmare scenario. Safety car in then at the end of lap 16, but what a shake-up this has turned this race into. Yuri Vips up in P4 at the moment, but effectively we've got 20 laps with a 10-second time penalty, and of course the rain is still meant to get heavier and heavier. Could we see a switch to full wet tyres at some point? Ocon and Zhou Guanyu have got the jump on myself there off the safety car restart. But looks like we've left Yuri Vips napping as well. But we're going to have to take a few laps just to ease the tyres in, build up the confidence. So we can look at that through turn one there. Full opposite lock immediately. and it's not going to get any easier. The AI with their built-in traction control. Eurolip says thank you very much. Up onto the podium here as we head down the Assetto Corsa. Lance Stroll trying to barge his way through. Don't think we've seen him on the podium so far this year. Might have happened once, actually. Oh, this is not fun. The AI have just got such an advantage as Robert Schwartzman and Alfa Romeo up in the points are an Albon. Despite having to pit later than most, he's still inside the top 10. Back up the inside of Felipe Drugovich will go. Of course, started this Grand Prix from the back. I think now we're starting to get the tyres up to where we need them. But yeah, that has not been the restart we wanted. The AI, they've just got the grip. They've got the traction. You can't do anything about it. But now, we've still got a much superior car there. Around the outside of Schwartzman will go. Oh, Yuri Vips, big lock-up down at turn 1. Where's he going to re-emerge? That's very, very scary from the Williams driver. And, well, I was about to say I think we're definitely building up more confidence, but suddenly, yeah, another wobble through the centre S. We're pulling away from Schwartzman behind, but I'm not even convinced we'll get back to the front of this race. We just have got nothing. Very rear limited circuit Interlagos, which plays into the AI's hand. Or whatever I try to do at the moment, I just don't seem to be able to make the impact I need to. 15 laps to go here from Interlagos, and I'm struggling to get back past Yuri Vips in his Williams there. That being said, of course, he has been mega most of this year, but Schwartzman might be my new best friend here if he can try and keep holding up those cars back, because that might be the way. Whoa! No!
Are you alright? Engine off, engine off.
I can't believe I've done that. I cannot believe I've done that. I don't know the last time I properly crashed out of a Grand Prix there. But you can just see heading through the centre S. Shades of 2003 there. Just back end snap round. Tried to correct it. And that is both Ferraris and both 212 Motorsport cars out of the Brazilian Grand Prix there. And if this weekend couldn't get any worse being knocked out of the championship, it certainly has. That's another DNF, but for the first time this year, completely my own fault.
A great race then, very much as we've come to expect, and a fantastic victory here at Interlagos. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack. And having that confidence gets you in the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance. So let's review the drivers' standings. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Lance Stroll certainly put in an impressive performance today. No doubt his team and fans are extremely proud.
With that result, the sport's newest team can no longer be touched at the top of the table. What an incredible journey this has been for a team many had written off a short time ago. They are the Formula One World Champions. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Well, there we go. Zhou Guanyu, he's won a couple of races so far on F1 22, and that is just going to be another trophy to add to his collection there. A 10th and a half between him and his teammate Esteban Ocon there, but McLaren back on top once more. It's been a rough old season for that organisation, but finally they have done it there. Sergio Perez in at P3, of course, in his last ever Brazilian Grand Prix ahead of Lance Stroll and Mick Schumacher there. Gasly, Vips, Bottas, Piastri and Albon rounding out our top 10 there. So both Williams picking up more points as well. They absolutely love to see it. But Felipe Drugovich, another DNF. It has not been the Brazilian GP he would have wanted there. Both Audis and both Ferrari cars out here in Interlagos means the championship fight has remained unchanged there as we head to the final race in Abu Dhabi. 2 points between Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. It is all going to come down to the wire next weekend in Brazil. No, we're just there now, sorry. Esteban Ocon, though, jumps back up into P4 in the championship. Perez into P5 there ahead of Zhou Guanyu. So all three of those drivers still within a shot P4 overall there. Bottas and Ricciardo, only 2 points between them. 1 point between Lance Stroll and Mick Schumacher there, with Gasly still with an outside chance as well. There is so much that can still change around the field as we head into the final race of the year. But one that is solidified is myself there. We can't go forwards. We can't go backwards. We're just going to enjoy ourselves in Abu Dhabi next weekend. It's going to be a 100% race. We're going to start from the back, see what we can do. Thank you all so much for watching this video, though. I apologise for the way it ended there, but we will return ready for the final race. Let's get Season 5 done. Make sure you vote on the polls over in the community tab as well, and we'll be back very, very soon with more Formula 1 content. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.